carpal tunnel?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That looks good. Looks really good.
I know, I gotta make that muscle come back. Yeah, gotta squeeze it all.
There's some seats over here on the table if you want. That way you can write if you need to. I should fix that. Right. Well, welcome everybody. I appreciate you being here. My name is Britton. I'm a certified SAFE instructor, which means situational awareness for everybody. So I've been studying this now for probably I just finished about 60-hour course in this, and I still have probably another 80 hours to go of training to be an expert at it. So I'm just started new. First off, I want to thank Steve Grant and Jeff for letting me speak here. Appreciate them a lot, and Destiny Christian Center. Thank you. But anyhow, I'll tell you a little bit. I know you guys, most everybody here knows me, but may not know everything about me. But I'm a certified SAFE instructor. I'm a certified Krav Maga instructor, and I'm also a certified NRA certified pistol instructor. I've been doing all this for better part of 12, 13 years. I've been the Krav instructor for about 8 years. If you don't know what Krav is, it's Israeli fighting, and it's a fighting system that I just say it's dirty fighting. It's teaching people how to fight dirty. We're not allowed in MMA. We're not allowed in any of the fighting arenas because we would get thrown out as soon as we started because we cheat. Everything we do is cheat. And if you ever take one of my concealed carry classes, you'll find out that I teach you how to cheat. This is what I do. Because if you want to win, you got to cheat. That's about the amount of it. I'm going to make a disclaimer right off the back that your manual you have, it was written by a gentleman who trained me by the name of Yosef Badur. He was with the Marine Corps. And I liked his manual, but I didn't like his presentation. Although there are things in here that are the same, this is his manual, this is my presentation. Okay? So we may skip around. You may go, well, I saw that 3 pages ago. I'll go back there. So if you need to be flipping around, it's kind of like how Steve is on Sunday on the Bible, right? Steve and Jeff are on the Bible. All right, what we're going to learn today. We're going to learn about informed awareness, which is a key word, informed. In other words, what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to systematically, we have a system of science to figure out how people are going to behave, how they're behaving as a threat, so that we can articulate the threat that they're giving, that they are doing. Because if you can't articulate it, then you probably didn't really see it. Okay? So we're going to define what informed awareness is. And basically what you want to know was, this came actually from Shelley, my wife. She says, well, what do I care? Why do I care, and what's it going to do for me? So that was her question she had, and so I put it up there. What I hope for to get you out of this is that you can take this today, and when you go outside, you can use it. Now, I'm going to tell you something that I have just finished 60 hours of training, and you're going to get probably about a third of the program in 2 hours. Okay? So I'm working on some others to do, which will advance you into more of the behaviors. Okay? But we're going to focus on today will be what we call kinesics and proxemics. Okay? They're big words. They mean something, and we'll go through that. Okay? All right. Left of bang. This whole program is based upon the Marine Combat Hunter program. What happened is that the Marines, when they went over to Afghanistan and Iraq, they needed something because they were losing Marines quite quickly because they couldn't tell who were the good guys and who were the bad guys. Everybody dressed the same. You got to understand, after Iraq was taken over by us, after we destroyed the Iraqi army, it was too easy for the Iraqi National Guard to be detected if they wore uniforms. What they did is they went and they dressed like the civilians. And at that point, what happened is they started killing our soldiers at an alarming rate because we didn't know how to tell the difference. We weren't tuned in for this kind of fighting. So what happened is General Mathis went to his Marines and he said, you got to come up with a new program. We've got to figure out how to find the enemy. And they came up with the Combat Hunter program. They brought in experts in hunting, experts in tracking. All these were civilians. And experts in psychology, all civilians. And they taught the Marines how to find bad guys within the normal population. Because they're going to give off cues. And that's what you're going to learn today. You're going to learn some of those cues that you can see that everybody gives off. Okay? My story on this. Steve asked you one time at church, he says, Brian, tell him your story. Well, you got the condensed version. I'm going to give you the long version. Okay? Like I told you, I've been training now people for 12, 13 years in all kinds of different arts, martial arts, fighting, whatever it may be. I've Hapkido, Krav Maga, shooting. I've been trained on all kinds of things. But what's happened is that everything I've trained on this timeline is an incident timeline with bang being the bad thing, okay? That is the incident that happens. But I'll tell you, everything I've trained on put me right of bang after what happened, okay? The fighting, that's after the bad guys attacked. The concealed carry training, the shooting training, that's after the bad guys attacked. I have been trained in first aid. I've been trained in trauma medicine. I've been trained in blunt force trauma. I've trained all this stuff, and yet it still put me on the wrong side of bang. So, what happened is, well, here's my story on the right side of bang. What happened is I was an NRA. First thing I did is I became an NRA pistol instructor, which was fun. I had a good time doing that, and some people here I trained. Okay, I'm glad you made it, Glenda, because I'm gonna put you on the spot. You're part of my story. So I was trained with one of the instructors at the Denver Police Academy, and we were training a church security team up in Wellington. And during the training, what we were doing, they were in pairs, and the pairs were given simunitions. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's guns that shoot paintballs, but they're not paintballs. They look like bullets, and they hurt like the dickens. Okay, so they all had them on. And my job at one of the incidents was a road rage incident that ends up in the parking lot of the church. And I was dressed up in this thing called a fist suit. And what it makes me look like, it's something that you can get beat up with and doesn't hurt. Okay? So I was dressed up in this fist suit, and it kind of makes me look like a black malignum man. Okay? Great big thing. And so we're outside and in the parking lot, and the guy I'm with, the first pair was out there, and I'm starting to yell at my partner. Okay, that's my job, is to be intimidating, yell really loud, be obnoxious. I'm telling him what a lousy driver is. I'm telling him that he shouldn't be on the road, on and on and on. I'm yelling at him, and the first pair comes out, buddy pair comes out, and what I'm supposed to do is I'm supposed to turn and face them. Do not advance, but you can yell at them all you want. So I did. I yelled and I screamed and hollered at this pair. They leave me alone, blah, 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 blah. Here's what happened. They pulled their guns on me. Okay? ordered me on the ground. And here's the thing is, I'm standing in this big suit. I can't get on the ground, okay? All right? So I'm thinking, something's wrong here. What happens, there were 4 buddy pairs, so there were 8 people. Every single buddy pair pulled their gun on me, okay? And I'm thinking, I'm thinking naively, I'm thinking, well, I can't get on the ground, so, I went to the head instructor, I said, this seemed weird. This is wrong. Something's not right here. I couldn't put my finger on it, but something's not right here. And he said, okay. And my instructor, he got red in the face. His ears lit up. You could tell he got angry, and he was mad. He chewed those teams out, chewed them up and down. He said, you all just got charged. In the real world, you just got charged with the felony menacing. You lost your right to own a gun. You lost your ability to carry concealed. You lost your abilities, okay? Your right and privileges to do that. He chewed them out. How did that affect me, and how did that make my story? I thought about it, and I said, well, I'm a concealed carry instructor. What am I teaching my students? What I decided I was teaching my students is I was teaching them to go from 0 to 100. Either everything's fine, this is how the Israelis would put it, everything's fine, or everything's bad. Let's go, okay? And that's how they draw the thumb down, okay? Anyhow, so I knew I had to change something. Something was wrong with what I was teaching people. Well, so I went back, I came home, and I met with him, and he said, well, I said, I need to learn something else. I'm missing something. I'm missing a component here. Something's wrong. So he trained me in Hapkido, and I learned, because that's what police use at the time. They used Hapkido. And so I learned that, and I'm still going, something's just not right. I can't, you're teaching me how to take people to the ground and how to put handcuffs on them. I'm going, I'm not going to do that, because it's against the law for me to put handcuffs on people. I'm not a police officer. I'm not a security guy. So I knew I was still missing something, so I got on the phone, and I called every martial arts company in northern Colorado, every single one of them. And this is what I asked them. I said, I want to learn how to defend myself. Okay, we can do that. But here's the caveats to it. I don't care about belts. I could care less about them. I don't need a belt. I don't want a belt. I don't care about white belts, orange belts, yellow belts, green belts. I don't care. Okay? The other thing I said is I don't care about learning. I call them forms. Actually, they're called katas. Okay? I don't care about those. How am I going to defend myself if I'm doing the same thing over and over again? So I don't like that. And then I said, and I'm not going to wear those silly pajamas. That's all there is to it. Every one of them said, no, you got to do this. You got to do this. You got to do this. This is how we rank people. This is what we do. Until I got on the phone and I called the Krav Maga Institute in Fort Collins. And I called them up and I talked to Chet Barnett. He's an expert in Krav Maga. And I said, this is what I want. I gave him the same thing. He says, come over. And I said, I'm telling you, if you make me do any of that silly stuff, I'm not going to embarrass you because I respect whatever you're doing. I'll just walk out. Okay? I'm not going to embarrass you. But I won't say nothing. I'll just leave. He says, no, come over. Now, keep in mind, at that time, I was probably, 50? So I was in pretty good shape because I was working out all the time, doing all kinds of stuff. I went over there for my first class. I remember it was on a Monday. I also remember what we learned. We learned front chokes. I remember exactly. This was a long time ago. And I got to tell you, went over there, first class, I thought I was going to die. It was that hard. I was sweating so hard. I was hurting. It was bad. So I walked, I got out, was putting my shoes on. I walked right over and just told him, sign me up. I'll buy it for a year. Put me in. So that's what got me started in Krav Maga. And I stayed with it, became an instructor at it. I've been out to California, been certified by a little Jewish guy about this big that I wouldn't want to mess with. Anyhow, so that's how I got where I'm at, okay? That's where I'm at, and that's what I'm teaching. But keep in mind, where am I? I'm still on the right side of bang, right? In walks Glenda to me. She says, Brian, will you teach a women's self-defense class for us? Well, yeah, I'll do that. I've done that before. Oh, but Brian, I don't want to have to get on the ground. Oh, that's exactly right. That's what you said. I won't be able to get back up. I'm going, oh, okay. This is going to be interesting. So I thought about it for a long time, right, Glenn? This has been a long time. And I went through a lot of different reading. I went to a lot of different training. And I found this left of bang training. And what I found about it is this is really what you need. Because it's better to not get into the situation than to get in it in the first place. Okay? Like I told you, I carry concealed. I fight. I can be a pretty nasty fighter. I don't want to do any of it. Okay? I really don't. Because you know what? There's always somebody out there who's bigger, faster, and stronger than you are. Right? All right. So here's what we're going to do today. We're going to get ourselves from the right side of bang to the left side of bang. Okay? Bang's the act of violence that we want to prevent. We want to stop that from even happening in the first place. Right side of bang, some things you do, you call 911, you call medical care, you provide care, or you fight. Left side of bang, what we're doing is we're going to observe for pre-event indicators, which everybody gives off. We all do it. Many of us, and I'm sure every one of us, Jeff was telling me his story when I got here. Every one of us have had that gut feeling, that intuition that something is not right. Okay? We've all done it. So what is intuition? Intuition is the basis of intuition is the word turi or whatever, but it means to guard, to protect. It's built into you to guard and to protect you. That's what it's for. Okay? So, many of the times, as you get older, you start to get away from your intuition. You start to reason with your intuition. You start to say, oh, no, I didn't really see that. No, that's okay. Right? You start to reason with it. And it's your brain that's doing that. So anyhow, as you get older, as you get more experienced, you start to lose some of your imagination that you have than less informed people. We call it beginner's luck. Not true. They're seeing things because they've never done it before. They're seeing things that you're used to seeing all the time. Well, we call it beginner's luck, but it's actually, they haven't seen it that way before. Anyhow, as we get older, we start to develop. So what we're doing is we're developing these bad file folders. Okay? And we're going to talk more about bad file folders. What we're going to see is we're going to start looking at patterns. They're patterns that we fail to recognize because we're not looking for the new wrinkles in it. Because we think we've seen it before. Because that's what our brain's telling us, right? It's not the same. So what's informed awareness? Informed awareness is a science. It's the science of behavioral analysis to detect and avoid a threat. Like I said, some of those you won't find some of them in there because I did this. I redid this thing. I've been working on it for 3 days. I don't like this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. Okay. Okay. So what are we going to do when we're doing informed and aware? We're going to identify threats based upon human behavior. So we're going to be able to, when you leave today, you're going to be able, and you're going to have to in this program, in this class, because I got videos up here that you're going to have to detect human behavior. Okay? Behavioral analysis. This is taking the science of studying behavior to the streets. You guys are going to take the science that you're going to learn today, and you're going to take it out there on the street so that you can use it. We're going to look at the universal and uncontrollable aspects of nonverbal behavior. We all do it. I'm throwing off a big one right now, and when you get going along, you're going to say, oh, yeah, I see it now. Okay? You're going to apply this science to making better decisions. So not only are you going to learn how to detect it, but you're going to learn how to decide what you're going to do. There's 4 pillars in behavior. There's the individual, And what I have on this screen is we have the individual, which are the nonverbal communications, which is what we're going to spend the majority of our time today on. We're going to look at the assessment of intentions and the assessments of their capabilities. We're going to spend a little bit of time on the group behaviors, not a lot. We'll spend a little bit of time on environments, and we're going to spend a little bit of time on the collective mood. If we were to break those all down, our training over time is to cover all of these. Okay? Today we're going to spend most of our time on kinesics and proxemics. Okay? So, we won't spend as much time on biometrics. Remember that my police officer friend? I told you got red in the face, got red in the ears? That's a biometric indicator that he was getting mad. And you had to pick it up. Okay? You could see it in his jaw. Something was going on. The environment has to do with geography, your relationship with what's going on around here, with the geography out there. Iconography, we all know what that is. That's graffiti. That's gestures, hand gestures. We all know some of them too. But that's what that is. And we all know that gangs use a lot of iconography. And we need to understand what that is, so you know where to stay out of. The collective move is the atmospherics. That's the whole taking it all in together. Okay? That is when you come into church, you kind of got to make an assessment of what is the atmosphere I expect to walk into. And that'll help you determine where the threat is. Let's look at these three men. Looks can be deceiving. These three men, they don't look so bad, do they? But if we go through them, each one, first one, Scott Peterson, murderer. Killed Lacey Peterson in California, I believe it was. Next one, Wayne Williams, murderer. How about this last guy? Does anybody know who he is? Ted Bundy, serial killer. Okay? They don't look so bad in some pictures, but in different ways, looking at a different light, they're bad, nasty people. What the Marines did with these guys, not with these guys, but what the Marines did, I don't know if you ever heard of a guy by the name of the Juba Sniper. Has everybody heard who he is? Okay, the Juba Sniper. What we do is we envision in our head, what does a sniper look like? Well, when we envision a sniper, we think of, oh, there's Kyle. Okay? Yeah, that comes to my mind. Or we might think of a guy in a ghillie suit, right? The Juba Sniper. What's that? Yeah, the Juba Sniper. Overweight, dumpy, very heavy set, couldn't walk hardly a block. That was the Juba Sniper. You wouldn't have recognized him in a million years. And what he was doing with his partner is they'd make a very innocuous-looking vehicle, and they'd take a cheap $5 taxi sign and put it on top of the car. And what he would do is they would be 40, 50 yards from Marines, and he would just shoot. And then he'd sit in the back seat like he's a passenger in a taxi, and they'd drive off. Okay? How did they find the Juba Sniper? How they found him was something was unique. All cars have seat belts, right? Even those over there, but they don't use them. But what they had on this seat belt, one of the seat belts, you have seen those big wool things that, keep them from rubbing on you? On one of the seat belts in the back, there was one of those. And the sniper that got him saw that. And he says, that's odd. Nobody wears seat belts. So he picked up on something that you had never figured out. And he shot the Juba Sniper and killed him. And that's how they got him. Was something had nothing to do, basically, with his sniping. That's how they got him. And they used the Combat Hunter program to do it. All right, Jeff, here's our. Oh yeah, before you all start this one, on Sunday we did one with the basketball, right? This one's a little bit more difficult, so I can't give you the basketball one again because you don't get it, right? What's the fun in that? So we're going to run this one. Let me get out of your way.
somebody in this room murdered Lord Smythe, who, at precisely 3:34 this afternoon, was brutally bludgeoned to death with a blunt instrument. I want each of you to tell me your whereabouts at precisely the time that this dastardly deed took place.
I was polishing the brass in the master bedroom.
I was buttering his lordship's scones below stairs, sir.
I was planting my petunias in the potting shed.
Constable, arrest Lady Smythe.
But how did you know?
Madam, as any horticulturist will tell you, one does not plant petunias until May is out. Take her away. It's just a matter of observation. The real question is, how observant were you?
What happened? We went back one. No problem. Right there.
Planting my petunias in the potting shed.
Constable, arrest Lady Smythe.
Oh, we went past it too far. Go back more. Little more. Keep going. Right there. Yep. Yeah. So basically what they're doing here, as they were switching the scenes on you, they were changing things. They changed the flowers. They changed the covering. They changed the clock. They changed the bear to a guy in an armored suit. I believe they changed the picture. Yeah, they changed what he was holding, right? I believe they even changed what she had. Chairs are changed. Carpet. A lot of changes went on. I know I've watched that thing so many times. I still don't pick them all up that they do. Okay? Here's the thing is, just like I told you with the moonwalking bear, it was there. Your eyes saw it. Right? But for some reason, you reasoned it away. It was there. That's what we're going to talk about, is why that happens. Because if you can't understand why that happens, you won't be able to fix it. Okay? Let's start off here. Hunter mindset. This is what you got to change to. You got to start having a hunter mindset. Humans are a thinking predator. Unlike any other animal out there, like the lion on the left, which is a predator, and yes, it'll stalk, it'll do certain things. But we are the apex predator out there. How do you tell the difference between a predator and a prey? Anybody know? Eyes. Eyes. Prey's eyes, like a cow, look out the side of its head. Predator's eyes look forward to see where it's going. That's why your cat, eyes going forward. Anyhow, the elements of hunting, the one thing that a hunter does, they don't do a lot of running around the forest like a crazy person. They just, correct me if I'm wrong here, Tim, but one of the things we do is we go and we check things out. We see where the animal's going. We watch their patterns. We look to what they're doing. And our job is, as the predator, is to be there when they show up. That's what hunters do. Or we can run around the forest and walk 15, 20 miles a day, get very tired at the end of the day and not see a darn thing, because what are they seeing? They're seeing the dumb hunter walking through the forest doing nothing, making a lot of noise. Yeah, exactly. They'll pick you up. All right. So one of the things we have to do is we have to speed up your decision making. When you discover something, we got to make you make decisions faster. You make decisions. I remember we talked about how everybody's gone through, had a gut feeling or a instinct. Well, now you probably made the right decision, but we're going to do it faster. Okay, we're going to make it happen faster. So how do we do that? We use a thing called heuristics, and that's making the best decision with limited information and limited time. So to do that, we got to do proactive searches, much like you would as a hunter. Hunters are looking. We look all the time. The proactive searches we make are applicable in many situations. So you got to train yourself to start looking for things. Don't try to analyze all the information. There's too much of it. You got to ignore what's irrelevant. If you're thinking about a threat, you got to ignore those things that are not going to be a threat. Make sense? Forget it. You're looking for something. You only need as many cues as necessary to make a determination of that threat or what behavior they're in. And we limit it to 3. 3 cues is all it's going to take. If it's a bad threat, it might take 1, right? But we're going to say 3. You want reasonable, adaptable inferences to what you're seeing. You don't want to get caught up in analysis paralysis, which means you're going to stand there and analysis is what's going to happen. Bang's going to roll right over top of you. Going to just nail you and just keep on going, right? Make things happen. Start thinking. All right. Who creates patterns? We do. You do. I do. We all create patterns. When you go to the work, you go the same way? No, not sometimes. Depends on the time. Yeah. You go to the same grocery store? Yeah. Buy the same thing? Yeah. You go to the same gas stations? Yeah. We create patterns. And threats pick up on those patterns. They want to see them. Okay? Criminals create patterns. They're going to work in the areas they know best. Terrorists create patterns. That's one of the things, both criminal and terrorist patterns are what we're going to be looking for. Criminals and terrorists, all terrorists are criminals. But not all criminals are terrorists. Okay? But everybody's different. Not really. Think about body temperature. What's the average body temperature? 98.6. Doesn't make any difference if you're in Germany. Doesn't make any difference if you're in Mexico or the United States. Body temperature is 98.6. That's average. Okay? Does a newborn baby, have the same needs in Africa as it does here? Absolutely. Yep. So there's a lot of things that we are all the same on. And we're going to look at some of those things that we all do the same. All of us have these 3 things, items, behaviors associated with our survival. And that is freeze, fight, or flight. The 3 things you'll do when under a threat. You're not going to do anything else. Okay? You're either going to freeze, you're going to fight, or you're going to run. One of the things we teach when we teach Krav Maga is we do this one drill. We do a drill called swarm drill. It only works with certain people that have a lot of different skills. But I can take a new person and say, okay, you know 2 different defenses, and we'll do the swarm drill with you. And what I'm trying to get you to do, I'll tell you what swarm drill is. You do a defense, whether it's somebody putting a gun to your head, putting a gun to your face, putting a gun to your stomach, a knife to your throat, swinging a baseball bat at you, whatever it may be. You do the defense that you're supposed to do. And as soon as you get out of that defense, you do your attack, and then go right back to passive position, eyes closed. Somebody else immediately attacks you. Immediately attacks you. And that's what we tell them, don't let them rest, don't let them rest, don't let them rest. Get them, get them, get them. Boom, 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 it's coming at you. Hitting you, going at you, going after you, going after you. Attacks with fists, whatever it means. What am I trying to do? I'm not trying to teach them how to fight. What's that? Yeah, I'm getting them out of freeze. I'm reducing that freeze time. That's what I'm trying to do. I don't want them to freeze. I want them to act. And this is what I tell them. I don't care if it's right. Doesn't make any difference. Did you do something? That's what I want to see. Because when you freeze, you're done. Okay? You've got to do something. So the other two things you got to do, you better fight or run. One of those two things. Psychology and biology, behavioral analysis. Okay? I got to explain a little bit here. I'm not a doctor. So I'm not going to try to teach you anything medical, although we're going to talk about some medical things in here, as that was taught to me. But your physiology and your biology are the reasons for behavior. Okay, they're both good and bad behavior. So we'll see it in both good people and bad people. So let's have fun in this area. The forebrain, the prefrontal cortex. This is the part that makes a person unique. Okay, what makes a person unique? It's their life experiences. It's their education. It's things that they learn. Okay, that's what the prefrontal cortex does. It makes it so that you learn things. It is your complex reasoning and perceptions and your thinking, your ability to think. Here's the problem with it. The prefrontal cortex will suppress the limbic system. You're going to overthink it. Freeze. I'm going to overthink it. Okay, a person can survive a wound to the forebrain. It's not that you don't need it. It's just that you can survive it. The forebrain is responsible for languages, hand gestures, and other learned behaviors. So, first thing, as a person who is learning how to identify threats, forget any behavior that comes from the frontal cortex. In other words, forget language, forget the hand gestures other than for the iconography that we talked about, because that can lie. Language is how we lie. Our body doesn't lie. Language is how we lie. The midbrain. Get in the midbrain. The middle brain is in the middle part of our brain. It has the same behaviors as an animal. We all got it, guys. This area of your brain is responsible for your emotional behaviors, your rage, your aggression, your thirst, hunger, sexual drive, fear. And this is also the part that is responsible for your reflexive and survival actions. Remember when we looked at these, when I said, when we looked at that, that one whodunit, and we looked at the moonwalking bear that time? I told you we saw it. Your midbrain picked it up. It was your forebrain that said, it wasn't there. That's what happened to you. This thing saw it. You've got to learn to trust. This is your intuition. This is your gut feeling, is in this area right here. It's in the limbic system, which is part of the midbrain. This is what tells you what's going on. This is also the area that bad guys can't hide. Matter of fact, you can't either. You can't hide it. Your brain's going to do something, and you can't stop it because your frontal brain's trying to tell it to stop. It's like me, my frontal brain's saying, Brian, calm down, calm down. But my midbrain's going, oh, you're in something uncomfortable right now. Okay? This part of your brain is responsible for your survival. It's your honest brain. This is where you get your freeze, fight, flight, and flight. Responsible for your survival. It triggers all your body changes. This is where you're going to spend our time looking at what this part of our brain does to us. Survival signals. Limbic system gives off these survival signals. They give off fear, apprehension, suspicion, hesitation, doubt, our gut feeling, our intuition, our curiosity, and our humor. These are true emotions that people give off right here. Since you're writing, I'll wait. These all come out of the limbic system. You can't stop them. You can try to suppress them, but you're going to give off some indicator, some cue. Like you can give off, you can say, I'm not going to smile, but you're going to give off an indicator that you're happy. There's going to be something. It might be in your feet. Limbic system. As I spoke about earlier, freeze, the first line of defense. What happens when you freeze? Why do you freeze? You're trying to take in more information. You can't, you're going, I don't have enough information. Just like when we do our swarm drill. Remember? Why am I freeze for a second? What was that? Is that bat coming from the side? Is it coming from the top? Is it coming from underneath? You know, things like that. Oh, is the gun in front of my ear? Is it behind my ear? Okay. That's why we would freeze. But we're trying to reduce that. It's like this is the freeze is what gives you this deer in the headlight look. And you know what? You do it. You do it. It's like when I first started doing Krav, and people would come up and say, Ryan, when we do this to you, your eyes get this big. You go, yeah, they do. I'm trying to take in more information. The flight, once you escape the threat, you want to get away. Well, that's going to be this. After you freeze, that's probably going to be the next thing you're going to think about doing. I want to run. I don't want to be here. And some of the indicators are going to be blocking. I'm going to be blocking. Okay? I'm going to lean away from you. That's part of flight. And your feet might be in a starting position. You know, starting position? One foot in front of the other. In other words, I am ready to run. I'm going. Or fight. That could be physical or verbal aggressions. Fighting is always going to be your last course of action. Unless you're trained and you might be your first action, which you might learn to regret at a later date. Okay? So in our pictures here, see the gentleman, well, the deer, forget the deer. The guy in the middle. That is definitely a uncomfortable position. It's not that it's uncomfortable to be like that, but if I were to look at his indicators, he's uncomfortable. Okay? He's blocking twice. Right? His head's down to protect his throat. That guy's uncomfortable. Okay, let's look at the two people on the bottom. She, dominant. Very dominant. She's showing all the indicators of dominance. We're on him, whereas he's showing the indicators of submissive. This is a submissive indicator. Show my hands. When we teach self-defense, the first thing I tell people is, hands come up. And you're going to naturally do this. When you're startled, where's your hands going to go? Okay? So everything I teach you in Krav has to start from right here, because that's where you're going to be. Universal human traits, or creatures of habit. All said, we all kind of, sometimes we take the same direction. We go to the same grocery stores. We go to the same gas stations. So we're creatures of habit. Man is naturally lazy. You know, we're going to do the easiest thing possible. We're going to take the shortest way possible to get there. So we're lousy liars. It takes a lot of training to be a good liar. Because you got to hide all those, you got to try to mask what your body's going to give off. We'll run, we'll fight, or we'll freeze. Pretty much we're predictable. I can get an idea what a person's going to do in a situation. We're not good at multitasking. No matter what your boss says, forget it, it doesn't work. There is no way you can do two things at the same time, because if you do, you're going to do them both terrible. Okay? Generally, we're clueless. We really don't know what's going on half the time out there. And we can't do many different things at the same time. You know, that's us. So let's look at assessing individuals. Let's build some clusters. Okay, so clusters. Clusters are kind of the behaviors we call them. We have to build clusters by using 3 clues. There's 3 clues to a cluster. A cluster, not a cluster, cluster. Custer didn't have a clue. In any of your clusters or your cues, you got to figure the context of the cue. For instance, in this building right here, if I'm standing like this probably means I am being very, more or less I'm blocking, so I'm uncomfortable. But if I was standing outside like this, would I be uncomfortable? I'm probably cold. Right. So you got to think of the context of the clue, of the cues that you're given. Here's what you do when somebody's coming around you. You look at the hands first. Always the hands first. Why? The hands are the weapons, or they're holding the weapons. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the hands, but I'm going to look at them. Because I want to know if there's a weapon. I don't care who it is. I'm looking at the hands first. Then I would look at the feet. I start working from the bottom up. From the feet up to the body. Why the feet? They're the most honest part of the person. Most people can't hide things through their feet. Problem with it, we don't look at the feet. You can tell if a person is uncomfortable. You can tell if a person is comfortable. You can tell if a person is dominant. You can tell if they're submissive by looking at their feet. They'll give it off every time. We establish a baseline. A baseline is what's normal. What's normal for the situation? What's normal for a person? Let's say for a situation. Most of you in here, when you come in here, let's just put one that's real. I'll put it up on a question here. But a baseline is what's normal and what you would expect from a person. Like if I'm outside and I'm like this, you'd probably expect me to be cold. You'd expect me to be shivering, maybe, But if I'm in here, you wouldn't expect me to be like this and shaking. I'm probably upset about something pretty bad, right? What you want to look for, and Pastor Steve mentioned this the other day. I picked it up when you said it. I said, look for the changes. Look for the anomaly. The anomaly is something that does not fit. Okay? It doesn't fit the scenario. It doesn't fit the baseline. That's what you're looking for. Whether it's on a person, whether it's in an environment, whether it's in a building or whatever it may be, once you've established a baseline, you're looking for anything that is different. Okay? That's the key. All right. Through three cues, I put clues, makes a cluster. We can put all people in one of these four clusters. There's actually 6 of them, but for our training right now, we're going to stick with 4. Okay, if we give you too much, if I go too much, then you won't remember any of it. Okay, dominant. What a person tries to do when they're dominant, they want to look bigger. Like me right now, this is a dominant pose as you're going to get. Okay? Why? My arms are open. My hands are pointing. Guys, when they want to look dominant, their fingers are going to point right to their groin. Don't ask me why, but that's where they point. Okay? Women, they're going to look like this. Okay? Dominant. Submissive. What you want to look is you want to look smaller. Usually when you're going to look smaller, there's a reason why, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But you want to look smaller, you'll see the shoulders start to roll in. The hands coming inside. Okay? I want to get small. I want to get little. I don't want people to notice me. That's submissive. Uncomfortable is usually when a person's under stress or threat, and they're going to give off indicators for that. They're comfortable when a person's not under stress or a threat. All of you right now, pretty much comfortable. Except for one person in here who's probably not as comfortable as he used to be. Doing better at it, though. That's me. I'm still probably a little bit uncomfortable. Our job is to identify 3 cues that will identify which cluster a person's in. Okay, you want to have 3. 2 will work. If it's really a bad, 1's fine. But we're looking for 3. If we have 3, we can confirm which cluster they're in. Okay, so clusters: dominant, submissive, uncomfortable, and comfortable. The other 2, just so you want to know, is aware and unaware. And we can cover those at a later date. How these cues manifest. Cues become more subtle as we've adapted. They're hardwired behaviors. In this case, this is a startled response. Remember? My hands come up, just like he did. It was why? I want to protect myself. That's why my hands come up. Now, when if Brandon startled me a couple times when I'm probably by the door or something, she walks in the door, and my hands come up. Okay? She goes, Dad, don't hit me. Don't hit me. Okay. Dominant, making oneself appear larger. Okay, remember we're going to start from the bottom up. The lower body. If a person's seated, feet planted on the floor and legs splayed out. Let me see if I can get a chair. Dominant. Okay? I'm large. Trying to make myself wide and large. Okay? Legs crossed. Hands holding ankles. Dominant. Okay? Standing. If I'm standing up, straight, wide as I can get. Shoulders back. Dominant. Very important because we're going to start tying two of these together at one time. Torso. Seated. Hands behind the head or neck. If they're back here, if your boss is talking to you like this, they're being pretty dominant, okay? Standing hands on hip, dominant. If I'm leaning forward, dominant. Standing, and I'm stretching my torso, making myself bigger, dominant. Okay? Hands and arms. If I'm sitting at a table, I'm dominant, right? I got my hands out here, leaning forward, heads forward, wide, I'm dominant. Okay, hands clasped behind the back. Could be submissive, could be dominant, depending on what else they're doing. Yeah, how they're walking around. This is one, if a man shakes your hand and it's like this, dominant. Okay?
Then you got to turn to meet him.
Yeah, he's dominating over you. Okay, this is a dominant handshake. Pointing with your hands like Coach Jackson is here. Nobody likes this, do you? We've all had this done. You've been bad. When everybody's had this, right? Dominant. Nobody likes that. So you got to be careful how you point. You notice how the candidates now, they're, gotcha, Mr. Dominant. yeah. Other indicators, you might be maintaining a gaze for a long time. In other words, pretty dominant. Okay? Touching people on the shoulder or head is dominant. This is something that guys will do sometimes to women or kids, especially kids. Patting a kid on the head, that's dominant. I'm dominant over that kid. So then there are places you don't touch on women, but if you're touching here, that's a dominant. I'm trying to dominate you when I'm doing that. Submissive, lower body. Seated, feet and legs crossed at ankles. I'm sitting. I'm submissive right now. Protecting my groin area. My ankles are crossed. I couldn't move from here if I had to. Not very well. I would have to go to a starter position to move. Right? I'm submissive. Seated, feet tucked under the chair. That's pretty submissive too. Can't move. If I wrap them around the legs, which I can't anymore, my knees are shot. That's also submissive. What's that? Yeah. Yep. And if they're not using their legs as a barrier, this is a barrier. Okay? That's still submissive. Okay, so that's the things you got to pick out. So the opposite of dominance is going to be submissive. So if you get somebody who's dominant, they're either going to be, the other person's either be submissive, they might be dominant too, submissive, or uncomfortable. And we'll see that in some of these pictures. Torsos lean forward apologetically, like that guy, past president of the United States, being very apologetic to a king of Saudi Arabia. He's bowing down to a king. Okay, that is a submissive cluster all the way. Okay, arms pulled into your body, like I said before. My shoulders are rolled in, hands are inside, submissive. Wrists and palms exposed, submissive. Failing to make eye contact is very submissive. What's that? Can't trust them. Nope. Nope, they're being very submissive. Yep. Uncomfortable, threatened, scared, nervous, create distancing behavior. Feet are bouncing. Okay? I'm sitting in a chair and I'm doing this. Oh man, am I uncomfortable. Okay? One of the things I do, as you'll see, me walking back and forth, this right here should show you what I am. I'm uncomfortable. This is a pacifying behavior. I'm trying to pacify my midbrain by telling it, it's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it. So I'm pacifying it as I walk. You'll see some people who will. I used to do this all the time when I was at the baggage claim, when I used to travel. My foot up on baggage claim. Pacifying behavior. I'm uncomfortable. Okay? Anytime that you have your legs crossed, you're forming a barrier. Now that's a certain thing, a way of doing that. Let's see if I can have another chair. Let's see who I can borrow. I'll borrow a person. Can I borrow you? Yeah, come on up. Thank you. What's your name?
I'm Trent.
Trent, I'm Brian. Nice to meet you. All right, have a seat. All right, so we're sitting here together. If I am uncomfortable, I'm going to create this barrier from him. Okay? Plus, I might do this. Okay? I'm creating a barrier here. All right? Now, if I do this, I'm comfortable. What have I done different? Here, I'm protecting what I want to protect. Okay? If I'm here, he's fine. I mean, my femoral artery's right there. You know, we're fine now. I'm not uncomfortable. And you are dominant. Good job. Good job. Now, what you'll see some people do, put that leg over there. There you go. Now lean away from me. Now, look what this does. We're both uncomfortable. But if you see what's happened between the two of us, there's a V that's formed. That means we are a V. Yeah, we are both uncomfortable with this, and we are showing that we really don't want to be with each other. Okay? Thanks, Trent. Appreciate it. I'll probably borrow you again. All right. Who remembers these two? What is this, like 8 plus Kate plus 8? What is it? Yeah, all right. Let's look at these two. This is just what Trent and I were doing. Forming a barrier. 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 He's blading away. Her. Barrier. 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 Okay? Look at the V between them. 2 months after this picture, they were divorced. Okay? So both of them were uncomfortable in this picture. Pacifying behaviors, I showed you one that I did. This will usually happen if somebody's uncomfortable. They're going to, like I said, they're trying to pacify the limbic system or the midbrain. So what you'll see people do is, I have a tendency, this is my pacifying behavior. I'll clench my fist and I'll let my hands go. Okay? This is my class pacifying behavior, or walking. I'm ready for a fight, yeah. Well, I'm uncomfortable if that's coming down. Rubbing your hands on your thighs when people do this. Pacifying behavior. What's that? Yeah, yeah. I'd probably look different, but rubbing the bridge of your nose. Rubbing your face like this. This is a pacifying behavior. Trying to feel better about things. Definitely. Anything that's repetitive is a pacifying behavior. And you can probably detect them as being uncomfortable. A long, drawn-out exhale. That's a pacifying behavior. Rubbing the back of the neck. Pacing, like I do. Rocking when I was doing it at the baggage claim. All those are pacifying behaviors. Look for them. If you see them, the person's uncomfortable. Okay? You've got to detect those. Yes, Steve?
Liza just brought out a point that in court, people that are coming down off of high as well.
Oh, I'll bet.
Because they're uncomfortable and need a fix.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll bet you see it a lot. Yep. Pacifying behavior. John McCain getting hot under the collar. The lady up there, interesting about her, she's actually giving off two indicators of one of discomfort, and the other one is what we call a kinetic slip. Okay? Kinetic slip. This is the lady that crashed the White House party, didn't have an invitation, and this is when the reporter was asking her about it. She was uncomfortable with it, with the question. But here's what they did. Here, if you look at her, look at her mouth. She's suppressing a smile. Although she's uncomfortable about it, she's happy she did it. Okay? This was something I was talking to Liz about the other day. I said, what's interesting, when you learn this stuff, you watch debates a lot different. Okay? You're going to start to pick up on, oh, he's lying. Okay? Biden's lies. Easy. The side of his mouth will go up. Yeah. Yeah. Why? Because he thinks it's funny. He thinks it's funny he's putting one over you. The other hitch he does, his shoulder will go up. He'll make these little hitches. Kind of interesting to watch these guys. You'll pick them up now. You'll start to see them. Yeah. Other than that, he's just lying. All right, let's see. All right. Here's some more pacifying behaviors. On the left, that's, the guy in the back is Coach K. Look at that. Look at that other coach, the assistant coach. They must have been getting, North Carolina must have been getting beat pretty bad that night. Or Duke. It was probably Duke. Was getting beat pretty bad that night. Because that's a pacifying behavior. O.J. Simpson, rubbing the bridge of his nose. Long exhale. Uncomfortable. These two pictures of O.J. Simpson were taken during his civil suit that he lost, not the criminal one that he won. This was as a matter of fact, this was the ones that were taken when he tried to steal back the Heisman Trophy, the guys who had it. That was this trial. Comfortable cluster, absence of fight or flight. Legs and feet, motionless, relaxed. You can pick this one up pretty easy. Most of us can. Legs uncrossed, legs crossed with the inside of the thigh, like I showed you when Trent and I were sitting up here. You know, this is pretty comfortable. Standing with legs crossed, what you'll see is somebody like this. That's a comfortable stance. I can't do much with it. That's why it's a comfortable stance. Torso upright or slightly leaning in. In other words, I'm kind of interested in what you have to say. You know, I'm not happy feeting or anything. Torso splayed out. I'm reclining. You know, a lot of us guys will, you know, if you ever watch guys sit, oh, they start here. By the end of the show, they are here. Yep. Shoulders relaxed. You're not turtling. This is turtling. Okay? Remember, this was our submissive one. Trying to protect myself a little bit. Other relaxed postures. All right, let's take a look at this one here, this picture. Ladies, what cluster is he in? Why? Yep. Kind of leaning forward. It's kind of big. Definitely dominant. What about her? Men, what is she in? What do you think? Yeah, so what do you think she's in? Uncomfortable. Uncomfortable. Look at that shoulder up. Leaning away. Look at the V that she's created. Look at that smile. Did you get any more fake of a smile than that? Holy smokes. Here's the thing about smiling, okay? Here's the thing. Here, you want to tell a fake smile from a real smile? The crow's feet around the eyes. A real smile, you have crow's feet. Okay? Can't help it. That's because you smiled all the time. That is a fake smile. She's uncomfortable. She's also blocking him with that beer as much as she can. She's got her purse and trying to get it in front of him. Needless to say, it probably didn't go too well for that guy that night. How about these two? Gentlemen, what about him? Him. Dominant. Yeah, why?
He's leaning forward.
Touching, going for his shoulder, arm.
Yeah? Yeah, if you look at him, what he's doing with this hand, he's directing her. That was dominant. Women, ladies, come on here. Yeah. What cluster is she in? Yeah, or she's probably uncomfortable, blocking. She's bladed her body away from him. She's not even paying attention to him. And I can almost bet her feet are pointing this direction. She's ready to go, right? So what you have to do when you figure somebody's cluster they're in, you got to try to figure out 3 things that put them in that cluster, okay? File folders. File folders, we all have them. As we get older, we have more and more file folders. Basically, what they are is what we remember out our life, what we've experienced in our lives. They can be good, they can be bad, or they can be incomplete. Good, experiences that matches the situation. Bad, your perception does not match the situation at all. A lot of them, we get off them, where we get a lot of that is from TV, video games. That's a bad file folder because it doesn't work that way. Incomplete, you're missing things in it, in your experience. Yeah, there's other ones I made. Yeah, I know. I should make a copy of these. Okay, what you need to do is you need to expand your file folders. You need to make them good file folders. You got to get experience, you got to train. So the stuff you're going to learn tonight, you got to go and try this stuff. Okay? It's actually kind of fun. It's kind of fun to do, really. We start to look at people a little bit different. And they probably looking at you going, what's wrong with that person there? Okay? You search for anomalies. Search for things that aren't right. Okay. So, with that, I'm going to tell you a story. I was told by somebody that kangaroos are a relatively peaceful animal. Okay? But in Australia, they have about 10 to 20 deaths a year from hostile kangaroos. And the people that have seen a kangaroo attack have said a kangaroo will give off these 3 indicators. The first one they'll do is they will show their teeth, almost like a smile. The second thing they'll do is they'll check their pouch to make sure Joey's not in there. The third thing they'll do is they'll check their 6 to make sure they can get away. This is what a kangaroo will do. Now, let me ask you a question. Can anybody tell me what are the 3 indicators there are that a kangaroo does before they attack? What are they? Good, good. Only problem is I just told you a lie. You have a bad file folder. Okay? Here's the thing is, I'm going to tell you right now, forget everything I said about the kangaroo. The problem is you won't. The next time you see a kangaroo, I guarantee you're going to think of that stuff. You're good about it. You're going to go, oh, yeah, let me see if that kangaroo's smiling at me. So that's how easy we can create bad file folders. And that's why television, video games are probably not that good a thing for you. Kangaroos? I imagine they do. I've never been to Australia. I don't know anything about kangaroos. I don't know, Tim. I made it up. See, he still wants that file folder really bad. First thing you're going to do. Yeah. First thing you're going to do on a threat, you're going to deny it's happening. This is as if you've ever taken my concealed carry class, and we're going to go over this. This is what we call condition white. You can't believe it's happening to you. Well, doggone it, you weren't paying attention, so why wouldn't it happen to you? Okay? Denial's the first phase. This can't be happening. It's the most dangerous phase of a decision making when you deny. If you go to denial and don't believe what your eyes saw, don't believe what your brain's telling you, you're in trouble. Okay? It occurs every time something is not standard. When something is unusual, when something is an anomaly, you're going to try to reason it away. You can't do that. Okay? That's your training. Threat behaviors and other indicators. This is why you're here. Patting and checking. Gun guys, what's the one thing that when you're wearing your gun, what's the one thing you want to make sure is on you? Your gun. So you'll see them doing this. If they're carrying them doing this, I'm probably carrying a 3 o'clock. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. I'm checking that for that gun. I'm checking where those weapons are. Okay? That's an indicator of a threat. Patting or checking. An aggressive behavior, like the guy up in the upper right corner. And we're going to talk about each one of those. Chest heaving. You'll see them. You'll see them do it. They're going to get mad. They're going down. They're a threat. Clothing's not appropriate for the season. Heavy coat in the warm summer. I'm going to tell you something right now. Baggy clothing. If you see somebody dressed like me, as I am right now, you better darn well expect he's probably carrying a weapon. Okay? Because it's just been a phenomena to me within the last 10, 12 years. Men do not tuck their shirt in their pants anymore, do they? Yep. They're probably packing. Stiff movement to one side. If I'm carrying a shotgun underneath my coat, this arm will not swing naturally. Okay? Probably going to be hidden here. If I'm carrying something that is going to blow up, I'll probably be tucking it in. But watch. Watch for asymmetrical behavior of the body. They're probably a threat. Oh, we were going to have some fun. I forgot about that one. Let's look at these guys. Him. What's his, what cluster is he in? Very. Her? Probably submissive. Yeah, she's scared to death of this clown, right? This guy, I pulled that off of a site of people who are dressed like for packing. Okay, he's packing. He's packing. Yeah, he's terrible at wearing his clothes, but he's packing. All right. All right. I picked up this video. I thought this was kind of neat off of Alien Gear holsters. Okay, Jeff, go ahead and play this one. Just to show you how hard it is to see a gun on somebody. That's Cammy. You guys hooting and hollering in the background. See how easy it is to cover a concealed weapon? That's why when I teach conceal, I say, if you're going to go to concealed weapons and you're going to carry your gun, carry it concealed. Okay? It's really easy to conceal them. All right. Remember when we were doing the clusters and I said, okay, tell me the three things you see. What are the three things you see? This is what you have to do if you see a bad guy and you're going to turn him over to the police. You want the police to look at him. You have to be able to articulate those three cues that put them in that cluster. How do you do that? Keep them objective. Don't be talking about what you think they were going to do. Don't be subjective about it. Be very objective. What you saw. I saw him with his arms folded, okay, and leering down on her. He was acting, in this case, he's acting very dominant because he's leaned way in, okay? Explain what led you to sign someone in a cluster. Be able to explain the gestures, postures, and all the expressions they're given. Okay? This is what the police want to know. They don't want you to be deputy dog trying to tell them, their job. Why did you put them in one of those clusters? Don't use subjective descriptions. It's not your decision. It's not your position to say what you think they were going to do. Don't guess about what their cause is. Well, I put him in a dominant cluster because he looked like he was going to beat her up. Well, maybe. Okay, maybe he wasn't. It can't be vague. This is what the police are going to want. When you're explaining to police to go find somebody, that you give them a description. But basically what this was telling you is that this program that you're going through is designed for security people. And this is how the security people have to be able to describe what they saw. Okay, so the security was the closest I could find to civilian. That's why we're doing it this way. We want to be able to describe it. That's why I said 3, and be able to know them. Assessing the approach. This is if somebody's coming at you or coming towards someone else. That kind of an approach. Okay, it's threat recognition. You have 3 principles to observe. The search, the stop, and the decision. Everybody's seen this drawing up here. If you've ever taken any types of observation classes, this is called the OODA loop. The OODA loop was designed by Colonel Boyd during the Korean War. And what it means is you observe, you orient to what you saw, you decide, and you act. That's what OODA stands for. Okay, so we're going to start first with observe. To improve the way we observe. Remember, we've got to do this fast. Remember, we got to do limited information, limited time. So, how do we observe? We search. We know what we're looking for. We know those 4 clusters. That's what we're looking for. Okay, I'm not looking for anything else. Okay? Stop searching when you've got 3 cues to put them in a cluster. You don't need 10. You don't need 12. Okay? You need 3. That's all there is to it. Once you've done that, You make a decision that's going to put you into how you're going to orient to what they're doing. This is what I'm thinking I'm going to do it. Orient is the most important part of the whole phase of the OODA loop. It's the planning of what you're going to do. But you can't plan until you have observed and stop the observation at some point. You can't sit there and observe forever. Bang will roll right over top of you. Okay? Decision formula. You need to make a decision when something is bad. Something's bad. You form a baseline. What's normal? Baselines are normal. Anomalies are what's different than the baseline. Something that shouldn't be there. And here's my two examples. You got to form a baseline for the environment. Okay? So the first one in there, this is for the ladies. What would be the baseline? And the reason I ask this to the ladies, because guys usually don't go to the grocery store, stop shopping. Okay? So ladies, what's the baseline? What would you expect to see a baseline in the parking lot of the grocery store? No, the baseline of a cluster. What cluster would you expect to see as a baseline in a parking lot of a grocery store? Think? Is that what you'd expect to see? Okay. All right. I think you're going to see uncomfortable. If you are uncomfortable in the parking lot, bad things can happen. Because if you're uncomfortable in a parking lot, what happens to your situational awareness? It goes up. Okay? And I'm going to show you why you probably should be uncomfortable. What would be your baseline when you come to church? Comfortable. Okay, so if I see, and you're right, it's comfortable. So if I go to the church, and I expect the baseline to be comfortable, and I see somebody in the uncomfortable cluster, they're an anomaly. I'm keeping my eyes on it. Okay? If I see somebody in a submissive cluster, an anomaly, I'm keeping my eyes on them. Okay? Make sense? I'm going to show you why I'm encouraged ladies to be uncomfortable in parking lots in a minute. Okay? Start with approach. Criminals attack in areas they are the most familiar with. They do it every time. Put most attention on anybody that's approaching you. I'm only concerned with what's coming at me. Close proximity negates skill. The closer they get to you, I don't care how good you are with that gun. If they're right on top of you, you're behind the 8-ball. You're not going to get left to bang. I can guarantee you that. They're going to knife you. They're going to attack you somehow if they're there. So you don't want them to get too close. You better make these decisions before they get in there, before they get close to you. Okay, criminals attempt to blend in with the environment. This is why I say one of the worst things you can do is racial profiling. Don't do it. You're going to be wrong. Why do I say that? Because the one thing we learned is that bad guys are learning this stuff too. Okay? I don't know if anybody reads up much on Antifa and BLM. They're training. And they're training hard. They're learning this stuff. Only they're learning it from the criminal terrorist side of things. And what are they going to try to do if they want to attack you? They're going to want to blend in. They're not going to want to look different. The guy down that killed, if you remember the guy that shot the guy down in Denver. There were 3 of them, right? There was one that was the instigator. What does his shirt say?
Black guns matter.
Black guns matter, exactly. So whose side would you think he was on? That's right. He blended in. He was the instigator of every single one of those. Yep. So forget racial profiling. If you automatically think that because that person is of a different race, you're behind. Okay, you lost. Because that could be a plant. Easy. Right? As they get closer to you, it increases the attacker's accuracy. They don't have to be as good. They're not going to be good at it at all. They reduce the defender's reaction time. You can't react. increases the number of options that the attacker has and decreases the number of options you have if they get close to you. So we're going to start picking this stuff up early as we can if somebody's approaching me. Baselining the approach, proxemics, the study of space and distance. First thing about proxemics is this one right here, proxemic pull. This is what decreases distance. The reason it decreases distance is because of one of those 4 items there. There's something, whether it's the criminal or the kids in this case, that they want. They have either a curiosity, a need, an association, or an attraction. Okay, so in a bad guy's case, he needs something. He's coming to you. That's his proxemic pull. In this case, the kids want to be around the ice cream, and they're uncomfortable. Proxemic pulls are normally good, but they can be bad, depending upon who's approaching you. The baseline process, you got to decide this. What's going on here? What's going on here? What's going on with this picture? What are they doing? Yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. All kids want to get some ice cream. What would make somebody stand out in this one? Okay, this is comfortable. Everything's comfortable. But what would make, if you saw this, and what would you say, what would make somebody stand out, an anomaly in this picture? Just anything. Maybe another adult. Another adult that's not with kids.
Puppies.
A puppy?
Yeah, like he's going to attract the kids with a puppy and throw them in the truck.
Could be. Yeah. Yeah. Or he's not waving at the kids, and it could be anything. So you got to kind of look at that kind of stuff. That's your job, is to start training yourself what you're looking at. So if you saw an anomaly, what would you do about it? We'll talk about that. We'll give you 3 things to do. Thing is about 3s, people can remember 3s. They can't remember much more than 3. Okay? Proxemic push, these are normally negative. This means it's pushing you away, it's getting away from something. Your limbic system says it's a threat. I'm getting away, I am running. In this case, there's a bomb that went off. They're all running away. The reason you have it is for fear, for your safety. There was a threat, or you just don't know. You're going to go away. Cluster anomalies in the approach. Would it be okay? Here's what you got to look at. If they're not coming to you, would it be okay if let's say somebody's approaching somebody else, would it be okay if that person approached you like that? That's what you got to look for when you're looking at 2 other people. You're the 3rd person. Would you benefit from somebody approaching you? Like the guy on the left. Obviously, this means okay, right? Probably okay. Might be lying. And gesture, we said, don't trust these, right? Look at the person on the lower right. That is dominance and uncomfortable as it can get.
He came to get his 3 laptops.
Yeah. Anomalies of the approach from the submissive cluster. A non-threat approach. In other words, they're coming to you very submissive. Okay? Here's the thing about that. It makes you drop your guard. Somebody's coming at you in a submissive approach, you're going to drop your guard. They're the hardest to detect, but they're going to be bad. But it requires time and effort from the attacker. Okay? They have to think about what they're going to do to get close to you. Dominant clusters, their intentions are revealed. You can see, if somebody's dominant and they're coming at you, attack you, you can pick that one up pretty quick. You get a fight response, you get larger, you're posturing, have you ever seen 2 guys getting ready to fight? We call it a monkey dance, okay? We still call it social behavior, okay? Because they're just trying to posture between the 2 of them, right? Excessive dominance, they're preparing for the fight. They are getting ready to go. They're circling, and we see it. We see it in the animal kingdom. That's what these guys are doing. They're getting ready to fight. Excessive discomfort, adjusting clothing, agitation, shaking, pacifying behaviors, anxious, sweating, any of that stuff of excessive discomfort. Plan on something bad happening. Intentions concealed, afraid of getting caught. They're trying to conceal themselves. They're trying to hide something. Okay. This is where I told you, ladies. This is where the one with the, this is a parking lot of a grocery store. Okay? What I want you guys to watch is I want you to watch the guy in the lower right hand at first. Okay? That's the guy I want you to watch. Oh, hold on a minute, Jeff. What did we say we thought we should be in? What was the, if you're in the parking lot, what should you be in? What would parking lot be? Uncomfortable. Okay. Go ahead, Jeff. Shelly's playing music. That takes a minute, because I usually was going to talk while I was waiting. What cluster is he in? Is he? He's kind of submissive. Could be, yeah. Stop right there a second, Jeff. Do you guys remember her? What was she in? She was casual. She was comfortable. Okay? She doesn't even know these two clowns are around her. The guy on the top there, submissive. He's helping around. I'm going to be nice to you. I'm going to help you. I'm going to take your card for you. Keep going, Jeff. Please put her groceries away. Getting in her car. What does he do? Boom. Pause right there a second, Jeff. All right. That's all right. That's good. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, if you ever get in that situation, you fight like hell. Okay? You do not want to leave that parking lot. Under any circumstance, do you ever want to leave that parking lot? Because whatever is going to happen to you, it's going to happen a lot worse where they're going. Okay? You're going to lose it there. Fight. Don't let it go any further. Anyhow, the other guy gets in the car and they drive off. He's gone. I don't know what happened to her. They don't know what happened to her. Okay? All right, what makes someone stand out? This is one thing that makes them stand out. Comfort during chaos. Who recognizes this picture? Anybody recognize that picture? Boston bomber. Look at everybody in this picture. A tremendous amount of panic. They're running. The bomb went off. Look at him. Comfort. This is the picture that got him caught. He's comfortable during chaos. Everybody else is scared to death. Run. I know, he's kind of interesting too. I saw him. But you know, here's the thing with him. He's backed up against the wall. He's got an awareness going, doesn't he? Well, don't know where to go. But this guy here, that's the one that got him. Yeah. What's that? No, he's not really smiling. What he is what he's got there, Ben, is he has a mission focus. Because he was going from one thing he was going to do to the next thing he was going to do. They had planned it out. So he knew where he was going. Yeah. Yeah. Threat indicators, smuggling behavior, patting, stiff arm, adjusting clothing, touching certain parts of their body, shortened stride, and they slowed it down, they've shortened their stride up, blading the body. What areas touching? Gun guys will always be touching our waist, small of our back, under our arm, wherever that gun may be, or weapon of any kind. You know, I could be carrying a Kubaton down there. I could be carrying a collapsible baton. Could be anything there. I'm going to check to make sure it's there. I'm going to use it. Remember that picture we saw? He was mission focused. He had found his victims, and he was on his final approach. He was going. Okay? That's what got him. Checking the six. We were talking about that before everybody got here. Checking the six. Checking the six is simply looking behind yourself. Every once in a while, people look behind themselves to see what's going on behind them. All right? Only two people that do. There's only two types of people who check their six. Good guys and bad guys. Okay? I do it. Hopefully I'm not a bad guy. I do it. Okay? I check my six. Bad guys do it because they're looking for targets. One thing. The other thing they're doing is they're looking for good guys. They're looking for either law enforcement, military, or security before they do anything. All right, Jeff. Okay, before you play this one. This is a robbery in a jewelry store in Boston. I believe where it's at. And I want you to watch the robbers and watch what they're doing. Okay?
Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Philadelphia, okay. Thanks. Look at him right there. Right there. Checking his six. And then, here comes the gun. Okay? Actually, if you looked at it, he checked his six too. He did it first, and the other guy did it. Okay? They were looking to see if anything was coming in the door. I probably would, my spidey senses would have probably went up when I saw them walking around the way they were. You know, they had no clue what they were doing in that store. Yeah. 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 All right, this one here, what I want you to watch for, this is kind of a hard one to see, but I want you to look for people who are checking their six. And there's actually two people in this video that are situationally aware. And when we run this thing, I want you to see if you can tell me who they are. Go ahead, Jeff. This is Grand Central Station. If you want me to run it again, I will. This guy? Yep, that's one of them. Did you guys see the other one? Nope. Good try. Good job. She looks to her right, doesn't she? Yeah, she does. I didn't tell you that. Go back up, Jeff. There's a reason they look to the right. There's a donut shop here. All right. All right, so let's back up, back up, back up, back up. Keep coming backwards. Look at the guy in the yellow shirt. Keep going, Jeff. Back more, back more. There. Checking his six. He does it twice. Okay. Go ahead, Jeff. Run it forward. Check his six. Nobody else does it. The donut shop. Watch here. Watch when these two intersections come together. Keep going. Watch what he does. Check his six again. Okay. He's situationally aware. Okay, he's probably a good guy. But that's one of the things you can look for. You can start to look see people who are checking their six. Yeah, yeah. All right. Improve the process. Decision principle. Once you identify an anomaly, you must make a decision. Now, as security people, as civilians, these are the three things we can do about it. We can control the anomaly. Okay? They have to be, I'm not saying you do them in this order, but when you start to run them down what you're going to do, this is the order you've got to go through. You can't skip one of them and try to go back. It doesn't work that way. So the first thing, as a security person, as a civilian, unless you're in fear for your life or serious bodily harm, control. You can take physical control of this guy if it's a bad guy. If it's a bad guy that's attacking somebody you love, coming around you, somebody they're not gonna, or trying to take somebody, you can take control of it. Let me say you don't have a gun or any other weapon on you or something like that. All right? Control. The other thing you can do, you can call the authorities. You can call the police. You're ready to describe it, what you saw. You can contact them. This is what I would recommend in a lot of cases you do. You contact the story Jeff was telling us about today. This is what he did. You contacted them. Almost, you kind of made them rethink what they were doing. It wasn't I want him to start the conversation, but he made the guy, by the way he was moving towards him and around him, that he changed. Okay? The fourth thing you do is you can leave it alone. The worst option you can pick. Okay? You leave it alone, bang. You blew it. Okay? Here's the thing is, guys, more and more things are happening this day. The police, I mean, I've talked to sheriff's deputies, and you know what they're telling me? We'd rather go back to Afghanistan. We know the rules there. We don't know the rules here. Okay? They can't protect you. You know, they can't do anything. They're handcuffed. So the only thing we've got is us. That's why we got to do this. We can help them. We really can, but we got to know what to do. Law enforcement, military, they all go through this training. This is their training that you're seeing. All right? You've got to be able to do this stuff. Improve the security. Okay? Basically, you have two groups of threats out there. There's outsiders and insiders. Outsiders mean people that are not supposed to be here. Those people that show up without their ID badge and stuff like that, don't have an ID badge, they're not supposed to be here. Okay? They're easy to identify because they weren't supposed to be there. Okay? They'll always reveal their intentions, the outsider. But the insider. The insider's authorized to be there. They're the most difficult to determine. They can be there. These are your disgruntled workers. Postal workers, yeah. Just think about public events when you go to the Stampede or something. Just think what those poor guys, those wranglers, those security guys are up against. Right? Everybody can be there. That's hard. That's hard. They bought a ticket, they can go in. They're an insider. That's difficult. And there's greater risk because if you confront somebody that didn't do something wrong, you can get in trouble. Right? Correct? There's a risk here for doing it. So you better make sure you have 3 Qs. Right? Preventing violence reduces risk. Risk is the likelihood of an event. Risk, the formula for risk is the likelihood of the event multiplied by the severity of the event. Let's put it in what we've been training on tonight. Risk is the left side of bang multiplied by the right side of bang. Okay? What can happen? The only way to get risk to 0 is to get left of bang. Only way you're going to do it. If not, go take training in Krav Maga, learn how to shoot a gun, learn how to do trauma medicine, learn how to do CPR, learn to do first aid, because you're on the right side of bang. Be good at it, because that's what has to happen. On the left side of bang, all we got to do is have the capability to recognize threats. Okay? On the right side of bang, it's got to be a coordinated effort by the police, by the EMTs, by everybody involved to take care of on the right side of bang. That's why we got to get trained in this stuff. We got to learn this stuff. Everybody's seen this one before. This is Cooper's color code. We all know what it is. White, yellow, orange, red, black. White, completely unprepared. No clue. Most people out there, remember we're looking at that video of Grand Central Station? Other than 2 people, everybody's in white. No clue what's going on. These are the people we say, if something happened to them, what's the first thing you say? I can't believe it happened to me. Right? Condition white. Yellow. You're prepared, you're relaxed, but you're alert. You're aware of what's going on. Red or orange, I'm ready to take an action. I saw something. Remember, we saw the cues. We're ready to take action. We're going to do something. Red, we're going. We're fighting. We're ready to go. We're confronting. We are taking control. We're confronting. We're communicating with the person. We are doing something in red. Black, this is a military, law enforcement one. That happens when you have been in a fight so long that your brain starts to shut down. Okay, this is where this is where our Army guys, our military guys, our soldiers get PTSD because they've been in black. I mean, I couldn't imagine having bombs going off around me and bullets whizzing around me and watching my friend beside me get his head blown off. I couldn't imagine that. Okay? Condition black. The graph on the bottom is a real telltale of what goes on the top. When you're in condition white, condition black, your focus and your awareness is at its lowest. If you're in yellow, your focus and your awareness is at its peak. Okay? You're aware of what's going on. You're focused. You're not only on my focus on what's going on, but I can see a lot of things. I'm aware of what's happening around me. When I go to condition orange, my focus is up, very high. Okay? But my awareness starts to drop. Because when am I starting to focus on? The threat. I don't see what else is going on around me. That's one other reason why we don't want to use racial profiling. Because we're focusing on the race when the threat is over there. Right? So we want to make sure, and then red, you can forget any awareness going on. You're in the fight. When you fight, I don't know if you've ever been in any fist fight or anything like that. Heck, somebody could, play Dixie beside you, wouldn't know what's going on, right? Doesn't happen. So that just tells you that the best place to be, yellow. So you have to, when you go outside, you got to change that attitude. You got to go into condition yellow and start being aware of what's going on. How to improve? Watch body language 15 minutes away. Watch YouTube. Watch crowds. Watch things. Just go about. Just watch. See what's going on. Watch it for 15 minutes a day. Try to figure out the clusters people in. Try to figure out the cues they're doing. Just do it. It's kind of fun. Our mall's terrible, but there's probably any people there anymore. Yeah. Here's the other thing. Be conscious of your own body language. What are you doing? What are you giving off? Watch your spouse, watch somebody else, and kind of go back and forth. What cluster am I in? I've gotten much more comfortable, so. All right. Study this stuff. Study it. It's fun. It really is. It's hard at first, but it's fun. It really isn't too bad. This is kind of an expert level of things, a recognized prime decision making. It's a quickly sizing up the situation and deciding how to proceed. It's a fast track to what you just learned. This is way down the line. Follow your gut feeling. Follow it. It's telling you something. If something's wrong, it's wrong. Follow it. Don't reason it away. Trust your instincts. They're there. God gave us those instincts for a reason. Okay? Follow them. They're there. Gentlemen, your wife's intuition is much better than yours. I'll tell you that right now. Right? Yeah. If she says something ain't right, it ain't right. Shut up and listen. Yep. Expand your file folders. Make them good file folders. Okay? Search for anomalies. Start looking for things that don't belong. Train yourself. You train. You do it. Here's what you got to do. You want to survive out there, you got to get left to bang. You got to get ahead. You got to get ahead of this curve. Make sense? Right. Reading resources. This is what I use. These are the 3 books that I use to study to make this presentation. Left to Bang by Patrick Van Horn. He's one of the guys who trained me in this program. Very good book. It goes into real depth of this stuff. You'll probably read the areas on behaviors 4 or 5 times just to grasp them. The Gift of Fear by Gavin DeBecker. He has trained CIA, FBI, Air Force Marshals, Marshals, all kinds of different people on how to identify threats. Very good book. Very good reading. Stories that you wouldn't believe. Okay? Sheep No More. Sheep No More is probably a excellent book for if you want to protect your home, or if you're a traveler and you're going somewhere and you want to prepare yourself for where you're going. So it's even further to the left of Bang. Okay? It's what you do when you read that and you study it, and I'll be coming along with that one pretty soon. And that is, you start to learn the attacker-defender. You can't defend yourself if you don't know how somebody's going to attack you. So what he teaches you is how to attack yourself. Okay? How do I attack my home? How do I attack? You know, Stephen, I've talked to Steve. How would I attack this church? If I would have figured out how I was going to attack this church, then I could sit down and say, this is how I defend it. And that's why I know our security guy, Joe, he is a Marine. He's gone through this training. Okay? Everybody know Joe? He's done this. That's why I'm not too worried about it here. Because he's done this attack, defend. He knows what he's doing. He's had the in-depth class, plus he's lived it. And that's it. Do you have any questions? Yes, Sarah. Well, I would think that you'd probably depend upon what the anomaly is. If it's a direct threat. In that one? Yeah. What would I have done? I probably would have got to a safe location, okay, and called police because he was armed. Depends if I was armed. If I wasn't armed, I'd probably get to a safe location. If I'm armed, yeah, if I'm armed, I would probably tell them to get out. Unless you're shopping, please leave. You know, you still got to be cordial about it. What if they're not? What if they actually reach and grab the telephone? Right? Does that make sense? Be cordial about it. Yeah, that was pretty good. Weird, wasn't it? Does that make sense?
Yes.
I would depends on how I am in my position. Because actually, what the Marine Corps teaches, I mean, I taught you guys, where you're going to control, you're going to call, you're going to confront. The Marine is, I'm going to kill him, I'm going to capture him, or I'm going to confront him. That's their order. So I might have to switch to that as my order that I'm going through, depending on the situation. That's part of situational analysis. No, they're the last ones. Any other questions? Brianna? What's 6? Okay, have you ever looked at a clock? A non-digital clock? I'm just teasing you. All right, look, come here. I'll show you what it means. There's a clock on the wall right there. If I'm facing the clock, okay, where is 6? Behind me. That's your 6. Yeah, that was an Air Force term they used for when a fighter would get behind them. They were always trying to check their 6 to see what's behind them. That's what it means. That's why they put mirrors in a lot of the fighter planes later on so they could see what's behind them.
That's why there's a mirror on.
That's probably why. That's why there's a mirror in your car. Anything else? Yes.
One of the things I deal with periodically is somebody who comes to the church who wants a handout or wants talk or whatever it may be. Those people are not hostile. They demonstrate behavior, but they quickly.
Exactly. Submissive is the one that most threats will do first. 9 times out of 10, a threat will start at submissive.
If they are a significant threat, in other words, if it's somewhat of a premeditated, will they be giving off other tells?
Yes. Watch the feet. The feet are telling the honest thing.
Okay.
Yep. Watch their feet. That's the one you want to get to. What's the one? Well, if they're submissive, right? They're here, right? Okay. Now, I could go to a flight stance, leaning forward, runner stance. Probably, if I was going to leap at you, this is the stance I'd take, right here. So in your case, Steve, if you're watching feet, and the feet are back here and they're okay, now if the feet start doing this, they're uncomfortable. They changed, right? Something changed. They're submissive when they came in. This, they changed. Your threat indicators better go up high when they changed.
With feet, sometimes they'll demonstrate outward
Pacifying behavior, uncomfortable. Something ain't right. Yep. What's that? Yeah. Yep. So watch those feet. Watch what they're doing. I mean, if you're talking to somebody and they're doing this a lot, I'd be going, man, uncomfortable. I'd probably switch my motors to trying to calm them down. Because something's not right. Right? I think the biggest key you have is the pacifying behaviors. Those are the ones I look for a lot. I don't know if you saw pacifying behaviors, any of the pacifying behaviors. The other day, Sunday at church. Okay, a good example. Sunday at church, I don't know if anybody else noticed it, but, okay, all right. So we were at church on Sunday. It was fine, okay. What's the behavior? What's the cluster for church? Comfortable. Everybody's comfortable, right? I'm sitting back in this corner right over here. 3 people walk in. I knew one of them, okay? I knew who he was, and I was okay, okay? But here's what happened. When he came in, he sat where you're sitting, right? The second person sat right there. The third person sat back there. And they came together. If your spidey senses didn't go through the roof, mine did. I know. Oh, I talked to him. He was okay. Here's how. What's that? Yeah. You know who that was? It ended up, I talked to him after. I'll tell you who he was when we're done. All right. Yeah, I'll tell you who he was after. Anyhow, so this is where Shelley was sitting. The rest of the service, I was sitting like this at first. I watched him come in. My seating moved to this. I could see her. I could see him out of the corner of my eye. Because those were the 2 I didn't know. All right? So I was watching them. Jeff comes around to me and taps me on the shoulder. He says, 2 people just walked in and they just split. So Jeff was lit up on it too. I asked Steve about it. He says, yeah, I saw that too. That was strange. So if you're ever, because we're all paying attention to Steve. Oh, they're good. Who it is, it was Stuart Rhodes from the Oath Keepers. Okay, from Montana. Yeah. Well, why they split? I don't know why they split. Yeah. I'll give you guys a nice little clue. Hey, Jeff, I'm going to shut this off. We're pretty much done with this thing. I'm going to give you a nice little clue.